Hey, this is Andrea and welcome to my book channel. Today I'm going to do a review of the book A Walk in the Woods by Bryson. Now this is the first book that I've ever read by this author, Bryson. And it's a non-fiction book about him and a friend of his walking the Appalachian Trail. Now, I've been wanting to read this book for a few years. I was really looking forward to reading it because I've done hiking, I've done day hiking and I've also done overnight hiking where you have the big pack and single tent and you use a bear bag and all this stuff. I'm not an expert at hiking, but I'm not a novice either. So I was really looking forward to seeing what his experiences were on the trail and if he had any advice. Basically I thought it was going to be one thing and it ended up being something else, okay? I had hoped that this book was written by someone who had had some hiking experience. That was not the case. He's done some hiking over in the UK previously because he lived in the UK, and they do day hikes usually, and there's specific stops, like they're with big groups and things like this. It's a different way of hiking, and it's a different landscape usually. I also hoped there would be discussion about, more discussion about the failures and successes of, different equipment that he used, techniques that he used, methods, like strategies of doing the trail and this kind of thing. There was a little bit of that, but not very much. He didn't discuss his equipment very much at all. And that was, that was one of the points that I was definitely looking for. This book is somewhat funny in that there's a lot of anecdotal stories in here. People that they meet along the trail, places that they stop when they run off the trail, when they go, into the local towns. Some of the stories I found funny and others I don't know. I don't know what to say. I've never read this writer before, and I might try some of his other stuff. I think because I expected something else from this book, it disappointed me a lot. Also, almost every chapter, half of the chapter is devoted to history, either of the Appalachian Trail itself, or dives into the kind of wildlife that can be found, histories of accidents with different, wildlife, like bear attacks and these kinds of things. And something that was disappointing for me is that there were a couple times when these when these histories would come up, and I thought I really wanted to look up some of the things he was talking about, like see more information about it. And while there is a section in the back of the book that says suggested reading, there's no footnotes, there's no annotations telling me what the specific, what some of the specific information, where it comes from. So I'm hoping I can find some kind of annotation for this book, because there were a couple of things I wanted to look up further, and I don't want to have to go through all these books to figure it out. I mean, some of it might be obvious, but I don't know. A lot of them are just, yeah, I don't know. This part is a spoiler alert, so if you haven't read this book and you're planning to, yeah, you might want to skip this part of the video. So spoiler alert. They don't finish the Appalachian Trail. They skip parts of it. I don't see that as disappointing. I don't see that as a failure, because I think I think doing any part of the Appalachian Trail is a wonderful experience. I've done short parts of the Appalachian Trail in Maryland and Pennsylvania, and I'd love to do some more of it. I don't know if I'll be able to do overnight stuff because of my health at this point, but yeah. So, and there was some information about parts of the Appalachian Trail that I found interesting, like where he compares the terrain of different states. So all in all, it's not a bad book. It's not what I was expecting, So if you've read this book and you have some insight or information you'd like to share, feel free to comment down below. And I'll see you next time. Happy reading!